I have different questions. Some are a little bit general, and some
choose the one you care the most
personal.
about. Choose the one you care the most about.
Maybe we can start with this one. I think it comes up often when I hear you, when I hear your teachings, which resonate a lot with me, and I really love them. And this is like some sentences that you have told us already a couple of times, like you feel it in your gut, you feel good about the thing that you want to do. This is how we see the alignment in us. It feels like the next logical step to do, like you're sure about something.
That's the word. The sure is the word that you're looking for. It's the feeling of certainty about it. Esther remembers when she decided that she was going to be with Jerry. Nobody in her life thought it was a good idea, and she didn't care what anyone thought. She was so sure. She was so sure. Nothing was going to stop that. Nothing. She was so sure. Sometimes it takes a little while for something to become that sure.
I think I felt those things before, this sureness and this like really good feeling, but sometimes I have a conflict of mind when I get too mental.
That's why we're wanting to emphasize that the work is to be aware of your mood. And then when your mood has been good feeling and steady for a while, then that feeling of sureness comes up all the time. Mm-hmm. It's about you practicing having a feeling and being aware of it, and then seeing the results. Having a feeling and being aware of it, and then seeing the results. You just get more and more clear. Most people don't trend very long in the direction of a pure desire. Most people want it, but I really want that, but this is how it is. And wouldn't that be nice if I had that? But I really need to face reality because this is how it is. And so there's not enough clarity to allow the train to move in the direction of what is wanted for that sureness to come. So as you play with this, with the attitude of just following the path of least resistance, saying things to yourself like there's nothing serious going on here, and I'll figure it out, and I am figuring it out. So you're easier and softer and more general about it, not so much in your head about it. And we think it helps to know that it's in the vortex and it's done. When we say it's present tense in the vortex, how are you going to let it be present tense in your reality? And the way you bring it into your reality is by not offering a vibration that holds it away.
Even how do you do it when there's things that you've learned, or you think, okay, I'm feeling this excited about something, I'm feeling so sure, but it's something that socially I shouldn't do. It's not correct.
Well, we know you've picked up all those rules, and you care about what other people think, and you've been calibrating to that mess of confusion. Mm-hmm. Think about how many different people from how many different places would tell you how many different things about the same subject. And you're going to use that for your guidance? We want to tell you something that Esther was noticing the other day. And we think this will lead into a conversation that will clarify what you're getting at. And this is a really important clarification, because this is what deliberate creating is. It's how do I know when I'm letting it in for sure? And how do I prime the pump when I know I'm not letting it in, but I want to let it in? How do I get it started? And we say start with easier subjects. Esther is now at the point where she uses just every subject. She's just ravenous about watching the laws of the universe in action in every situation that she can observe. She likes watching it in other people. She likes watching it in the larger, like the political world or the geological world or the financial world or her own garden. Esther's been really enjoying watching the San Antonio basketball team. They didn't get into the finals this year. It's a new team. She's enjoying watching them becoming. Really satisfying to her. But they didn't get into the finals. So now the finals are happening, which is quite a bit of basketball. And so she's watching a game maybe every day. One day there were 2 games. So she's watched a lot of basketball games. But it's different for her because it's not a team that she has, in her words, any dog in the fight. So she doesn't have a strong desire that is easy to get on the other end of the stick, because when you want something and what you're observing is other than it, then she feels a tension about it. She likes to see her team win. And when it isn't winning, it doesn't feel as good. So she's been practicing enjoying it anyway, enjoying it anyway, enjoying it anyway, enjoying it anyway. Because it's the game. It's not the win. It's not the win right now. It's the game. It's the becoming. It's the developing. It's the expansion. And that's the part of it that she's enjoying. So she came across a new concept, and there's a new idea, a new interest to herself. And there's nothing that makes her more exhilarated than to discover something new to think about that she hasn't thought about before. So she's watching two teams that she's aware of. She knows some of the players, one of the players on each team at least. She decides that she's going to pick a side to root for. And it doesn't matter which side she picks, because she doesn't know much about either of them. There's no trending. There's no what her daughter and her son-in-law care about. There's nothing in her experience that makes her feel inappropriate to think the thought. She could never sit in the stadium in San Antonio and root for the other team. That would be wrong on all levels. In fact, she's not even allowed by her daughter to say, that was an incredible shot, unless it was on her team. So she just thinks those thoughts to herself and winks at the players as they go by. In other words, so she's watching these teams that she doesn't really have strong desire about, and it's equal score. 1 ahead, 2 ahead, 3 ahead, equal score, 3 ahead, equal score, 2 ahead, equal score, 1 ahead. In other words, as the game's progressing, they're within a point or two of each other. So evenly matched. So bringing out the best in each other. It was exhilarating to watch. It was a very high-scoring game. Really good. High-scoring game. And really good entertainment. And then the referee, by Esther's opinion, made a totally bogus call. She's watching it on the television, and she saw the replay, and she knows that what he said is not right. And she knows every rule of basketball because she's pestered her son-in-law on every play for 5 years. So she knows the game. She knows what's allowed. She knows what's not allowed. She knows that the playoffs are a little different. In other words, she's got this down. She understands it. And that was a bad call. And she felt the injustice of it within herself. And then she thought, whoa there, what's happening to your mood? Because the whole reason you're watching this game is because you want it to be fun. And you thought that it would be fun if you didn't care about the team. But apparently you still care about right and wrong. Apparently you still care about injustice, which is a whole other conversation, because there really is no right or wrong. There's just attraction. And then this is the thing that we really want you to hear. Then she wasn't the only one that felt that injustice. Everyone on that team felt it too. And now the score is 5 points ahead, and then 10 points ahead. In other words, that injustice rendered them incapable of making a shot. The other team would score, they would take possession of the ball, they would take a shot, but they didn't score. Then the other team would take possession and they would score. Then they would take possession and they wouldn't score. Then the other team would take possession and they would score. And Esther thought, I saw that turning point. I felt it myself. I felt the point at which teams were evenly matched, stopped being evenly matched because they began picking a fight. They began pushing against instead of enjoying the thrill of the magnificence of their body and demonstrating the power of their agility and demonstrating their ability, their hand-eye coordination, and most of all, demonstrating their ability to be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, where they understand everything. You know, when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you not only know what you're doing, you know what everybody around you is doing. It's like the collective vortex. You can feel everything. Your inner being gives you all of the impulses. Your inner being is giving impulses to your body that are causing you to do things that you're not even doing. You're not even setting your own goals. You're in the state of allowing, and you're responding to your impulse, and you're winning the ball game until there is injustice, and you cut yourself off from that clarity, you see.
Until you turn your head too much on. Okay.
You pick in a fight.
So you can yell at the stadium if you want, even if it's incorrect. If you feel like...
Well, it's not incorrect in the sense that there's right or wrong. There's injustice that you feel in your gut and love that you feel. There's the feeling of elation and there's the feeling of injustice. There's the feeling of unfairness and there's the feeling of all is wellness. There's the feeling of clarity and there's the feeling of confusion. There's the feeling of knowing and there's the feeling of doubt. There's the feeling of love and there's the feeling of hate. In other words, there's the other end of the stick on all things, and you just want to tune yourself to that end of the stick, because that puts you in the place of allowing all of the things that you've asked for and all of the things that you deserve. You see? Isn't that nice to know? And isn't it fun to move through life and watch everybody around demonstrating where they are on the emotional scale? You just get to see it everywhere you go. You can see it in their step. You can see it in their demeanor. You can feel it when you get up to it. You can hear it in their voice. You can hear it in their commentary. Everyone is displaying where they are on the emotional scale. Everyone is displaying their point of attraction. Now, you might get good at sensing it through their emotions. There's two ways to know about yourself and others. Mood is the first indicator, and how it turns out is the next indicator. So if you want to know which team is the most allowing, it's the team that won the game. And sometimes it's really, really close, but still, it is definable. It is scientifically, mathematically understandable. But don't think your way through it. Feel your way through it. We're way over time here, but the thing about this that was so good for Esther is that she acknowledged that she was going to enjoy this ball game because she knew that she was going to be less inclined to feel negative emotion for any reason. But she still felt negative emotion, but it was easier for her to understand it under those conditions. So what we're getting at is there are subjects in life where you've trended longer. It's that stuff you inherited. It's stuff that's in your culture. It's stuff that's been in the environment. And there's a whole lot of expectation that you have gathered up that serves you, but there's a whole lot of expectation that you've gathered up that doesn't serve you. And by paying attention to your mood, you're going to show yourself which expectations serve you and which ones don't. It's not about what's right and what's wrong. It's about what expectations serve you. And what does that mean? It's about what expectations that you're feeling, what expectations that you're offering and feeling the vibrational response to that match what your inner being is feeling. Your inner being is not running around noticing right and wrong. Your inner being is only calibrating to what you're asking for, you see. Because everyone is deserving of everything that they want. And no one is deprived of anything because somebody else got it. Humans think that there's this finite pie, and that if you set an intention and you line up and you get it and you're blessed with the manifestation of it, that you deprive others of not getting their piece of the pie. And we say the pie expands exponentially to provide whatever anyone is asking for and allowing. Look at your pie. Look how big your pie is. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You cannot deprive someone else of their piece of the pie, and you can't give it to them. You can't look at someone and say, oh, you've been deprived, here, take it, because they can't hold it. When you give someone something, then they're not vibrationally mutual. When there's no mutuality, they can't maintain it in their experience. Ooh, what a wonderful conversation. This is a really good time for a segment of refreshment.